Recent news in light being brought to you by the Double D Experience podcast, the shittiest comedy video game podcast you'll ever listen to in your life. Coming at you, not live, on the day that, did I pronounce her name right? The Olympian, Simone
Biles.
Simone Biles, as of today, the most decorated American Olympian athlete of all time, after winning gold again today.
Mm-hmm. I did read about that. Did the flips.
She can do the flippity flips. And a lot of people care about the flippity flips. And some people that used to care about the flippity flips. And we're gonna, in usual Double D fashion, we're gonna take this news about this amazing and very important athlete for both women and African Americans and make it about ourselves as gamers. Because some people that don't care anymore would be the IOC. I'm going to send this article to you now, Dennis, because one thing that gamers probably haven't noticed this Olympic cycle is, there's no Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games this year. That's weird. I wonder why that happened. They've been releasing those since 2007 or 2008 in the Beijing Olympics. Well, as it turns out, the Olympic Committee has decided not to renew their contract with Nintendo and Sega for the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games for fucking NFTs. Look at this shit look at this fucking shit. NFTs and esports. Can you believe that, Dennis? What fucking year is it? This ain't the 2020. Like, where were the 2020 Olympics?
I believe they were in Tokyo.
Yeah, the 2020 Tokyo, or what was supposed to be in 2020. Obviously, it got moved, but, you know. Dude, like, what, do they think it's still 2021? No one gives a fuck.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, aren't NFTs, like, just kind of done now? Or I thought they were done now?
They are. That's what makes this so funny. they had like the fucking NFT, like you know, like a Smash Major or like Comic-Con or whatever, like one of those big conventions. They had like the big NFT convention in, I think, Boston, wherever it was last year. Like fucking 12 people showed up, dude. It was so funny. Like so you ditched Mario and Sonic in arguably the most successful period that they both of them really have ever been in. Sonic with like the new game coming out, the movie that's gonna be huge and shit.
Yeah, Frontiers.
Mario with the movie and with like all of like the remasters and releases that have been going on. You chose now to ditch Mario and Sonic for fucking digital apes? Are you serious?
No. Digital apes doing backflips. Remember?
Digital apes doing backflips and cartwheels and swimming in the pools and all sorts of swimming in the pools and doing the long jumps and all that shit, or digital lions, whatever you want to call them. Here we go. The International Olympics Committee walked away from its partnership with Nintendo and Sega for the long-running Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games series in order to explore deals with new partners, NFTs, and esports, Eurogamer understands. As the real-life Olympics get underway in Paris, there's been discussion online of there being no new Mario and Sonic tie-in for this summer's games, which I didn't notice. A lot of us haven't bought those games in a while, for the first time in almost 2 decades. Speaking with Eurogamer, a veteran behind the series has now said the decision to end the popular Mario and Sonic franchise rested with the IOC, which chose not to renew its licensing deal with Nintendo and Sega and allowed it to lapse in 2020. I mean,
speak your mind.
The way this hits me as a gamer, right? I will never forget, right? Because I'll be honest, a lot of us haven't purchased the Mario and Sonic games in a while because a lot of those games were pretty similar. They did some things to make them different, like in later installments, they added little story modes where you can interact with Mario and Sonic characters and like do like different Olympic events. But a lot of them were just like collections of mini games, and some of the later ones, they'd be like, oh, we just brought back these mini games. Now you can do the long jump again on the Wii U version of this game as opposed to the Wii. It's kind of like Mario Party, basically, just with only mini games and with Mario and Sonic characters, and it's themed off the Olympics. It's a very weird like series, but So a lot of people haven't played them anymore, but regardless, it's still sad to hear for me as a gamer, right? Because I remember like being 12 years old in 2007. I will never, ever, ever forget this. I was 11, actually, I think. 11 or 12. being a kid, loving Mario and Sonic, unheard of at the time for them to do anything together. They were still rivals at that point as far as the gaming scene was concerned, even though Sonic games were on the Nintendo consoles and Sega didn't make consoles anymore. And the idea of the two of them ever being in a game together was monumental, like, mainstream news at a certain point. Like when Brawl came out, like I remember like MSNBC was reporting on it. That's how huge this game was and how anticipated it was. Mario and Sonic in a game together, that could never happen. And when those images leaked of Mario and Sonic next to each other, jumping over like the little the poles or whatever. The hurdles, thank you. Jumping over the hurdles. That's why I keep you around. Jumping over the hurdles. When I can't do the words right.
When you can't English. When you can't English right, I'm over here.
You really do help me with that a lot. Like, you really do. When they're jumping over the hurdles next to each other in the gaming article, like GameSpot article or whatever. I remember booting up my dial-up internet and staring at that image. The one you're looking at on screen right now for literally like an hour and a half. That's how much it blew my 11-year-old mind. Like, holy shit. This is real. This is a real game. Mario and Sonic are in a fucking game together. And it wasn't the adventure game that all of us 12-year-olds wanted them to be in together. That probably wouldn't even work because of how different their gameplay is, and they know it. It's themed off the Olympics for some reason, but this is sick. And I still have that game over there on my shelf. I'll pull it out to show it to Denise.
Is it worth money now, you think?
It was a Wii game, so Wii games were, because of how huge that console was, those games were manufactured a lot. Not going to be as hard to find as GameCube games, I would say. It might be worth something, but if you're asking like Thousand Year Door or like Fire Emblem Path.
Oh yeah, in terms of like resale value, no,
like
probably not.
Smash Bros. Melee, like fuck no. Especially considering they made so many Mario and Sonic games. And then next year, it was like a gaming renaissance because that's when Brawl came out. And Sonic that same year in October was revealed to be in Smash Brothers, which was like literally international fucking news with how huge that was at the time. Like he was the most requested character by far. And it was just a third-party character, so people were like, holy fuck, this is insane. So it's sad to see it go. As just somebody who like those games just blew my mind as a kid. The fact that Mario and Sonic were in a game together and it came apart as a deal from the International Olympics Committee as a deal with Sega and Nintendo. It's a Sega game technically. Sega made it, but Nintendo licenses Mario to be used in it. So it was just so cool to see that happen. And like, holy shit, these two characters are in a game together and all the Sonic and Mario characters together at last. So to see it just end because whatever fuckers on that committee, who still don't understand the internet or like, fads or how they work or anything like that, to see that go in favor of them peddling NFTs, as a gamer, that hurts.
I'd even like to think that it was whoever was like the main guy who was in that committee when the games first came out. I'd like to think that dude probably either bowed out or he quit, he resigned, whatever, and like they just kind of looked around like he was the only reason why we were even entertaining like these Mario Sonic like crossovers. So they were just kind of like probably like, y'all want to do NFTs instead? He's like, hell yeah. And they like
make some money. It's
not even like, and it's so weird because like, I definitely I guess as a kid growing up, and even around the time when like the Wii was like as popular as it was around that time, I never really like that game kind of flew by me when I was a kid. And I think by that time I was like almost autistically like fucking fixated on Guitar Hero for whatever reason. Like there was a lot of shit that came out around those like early 2000s.
It was a great time for gaming. It was a really great time for gaming.
So like early 2000s to like 2010s around there, like there was just like a lot of, I think, treading new ground, if that makes sense, around that time. So, but like seeing I don't know, it was almost like so weird because like around that time was like almost the decade or so of crossovers. Like we got like Jimmy Timmy Power Hour as well. Like if anyone remembers that.
Timmy fucking Power Hour. You don't understand how much that blows a young kid's mind seeing characters from like cartoons not only interact with each other like that, but to be in each other's art styles. Seeing Timmy Turner all bulgy like that and then Jimmy flat that's like the most mind-blowing thing you can do to a kid. Really. Like it really just fucking is.
Every because I think, as far as crossovers now, I think honestly around the 2010s, the biggest one I think by far around that time was the Avengers. Just seeing like all of the heroes being together and all of that. So I mean, like comparing it to like Sonic and Mario like in the Olympics, I'll have to say this, and again, I don't base this at all on fact, but I almost feel this is gonna bomb. Like what the Olympic Committee is doing right now, it'll bomb. It'll bomb so hard, and they'll realize like they're gonna crawl over to Daddy Sega and over to Daddy Nintendo, and just beg them to please make another one for the the 2028 Olympics, 4 years down the line. Because I think business wise, this is just something that they kind of just entertain, because I feel as if like if this bombs, it really almost doesn't matter in a sort of way, but which it will. But I also feel like down the line, like they'll kind of realize like, oh, we didn't really make it nearly as much money as we thought we would with this, so let's just go back to Mario and Sonic and like having them sell their games along with us.
One thing that may have not assisted with that is Mario and Sonic, the Beijing 2008 Olympics. The Wii. 2012 rolls around. Wii U. Mario and Sonic at Vancouver, I think. The Vancouver winter ones. What the hell was the other one? At Vancouver, or London 2012, I was going to say. London 2012 and then Rio 2016. Wii U games. All of a sudden. They made them for the 3DS too. They were 3DS versions to make sure they sold still. But, and I think even DS versions of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games as well. That was when they, there was no hybrid console. They were on both. But when the Wii U came around, probably sold less. I'm not saying that's the only reason, because this time it definitely isn't. But, like, at the same time...
They could have literally just done it for the Switch. They could have just done it.
They did. There was one for the Switch. There was fucking Tokyo 2020. And I think Rio 20...
Okay, never mind.
And I think...
I keep forgetting how old the Switch is. Like, I actually forget how old that thing is.
Hold on a second. Rio 2016 was still on the Wii U. It was still on the Wii U. They released the games before the Olympics.
And the Wii U wasn't around for that long, right?
No, 2012 to 2017.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, one of the shorter ones because, I mean, they got to start working on the next one. No, it was not until Tokyo 2020. That is the one that is on the Switch. So I assume that sold better, for sure. But, yeah. It's very unfortunate. They wanted to look at other partners in NFTs and esports. Lee Cocker, who worked on almost every entry in the series, told Eurogamer. Basically, the IOC wanted to bring it back to themselves internally and look at other partners so they would get more money. Cocker previously worked at ISM Ltd, a sports marketing and digital media firm responsible for managing the Olympic Games license in the world of video games. Over the past 20 years, they really made 6 of those fucking games? That is crazy. Because they made them for the Winter Olympics too. There's a Vancouver 2010 and Sochi 2014. It's been hugely successful, though latter entries suffered somewhat from the same sports recurring. Not only was it on the Wii U, but like I mentioned earlier, it's like, okay, we could do the long jump as Mario and Sonic again. How is this one different? It just felt weird, and they added like little story modes to it and whatnot. They added like dream Olympic events where it wasn't just Mario and Sonic performing in like realistic Olympic environments. They would have them do it in the Mushroom Kingdom or Green Hill Zone and stuff like that. Made it like more video gamey, and that helped a little bit, but those game sales declined. I know I stopped playing them after a while. I'm pretty sure the Beijing Olympics one I think it's the only one I have. No, I think I have the Winter Olympics one. I think I have the Winter Olympics one too. And even as a kid, I was just like, yeah, this is kind of the same game, for the most part. But it still sucks to see, It's something. Should I keep reading, or did you have something?
I actually wanted to ask you, like, this year, right? Like, with the way at least America is with the World Cup and even like the Olympics, like, it's it's once every 4 years type of event, or like at least for the World Cup, it's a once every year, I think. No,
Yeah, 4 years.
4 years for each, right?
4
so it's
years,
like a once, So it's a once every 4 years sort of event that like kind of rolls around for us.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever cared, or even this year, have you like even bothered to kind of look at, or even like observe like how the Olympics are going at all? Because to be fair, when I found the news that Simone Biles was like, you know, like the most what do you call it? The most successful like kind of
most
Olympiad,
decorated.
like most decorated like thing for the United States. I had to find that out because like I just like kind of saw the news and I just saw that happen, but I haven't even bothered to look at any of like the actual like events, like any of them. And I know at least like back in the day, like our parents, or even like I guess to even a little lesser extent, like sometimes like people would just kind of follow it just to kind of see like, you know, what the fuck, like, you know, what's going on. Like I want to see like, you know, these self-proclaimed, or like not self-proclaimed, but like these accomplished athletes go off and compete. You know, it's a worldwide thing. And this year at least, like I haven't had a single inkling to check out any of the events. I remember at least the one that I did see was not this year, but like way back when, was fucking badminton. And shit was insane. like
Badminton is an Olympic sport?
I think so, yeah.
I fucking love badminton. Are you serious? I didn't know that. I want to watch that.
Badminton and obviously volleyball too. Like,
yeah,
you know, I guess it would make sense, yeah.
Men's beach volleyball, I think, is on right now.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, like you telling me that, like, I was just kind of like, oh, I don't know. Maybe it's just like the older we get, like the less we give a shit or like we care. I mean, like, there's a few sports in there that I do find enjoyable to watch as an Olympic sport, but then, like, I guess that was just when I was like a bit younger. Maybe it's also because like I'm working now, so like I don't really give a fuck. Like by the time I get home, like I don't even care to check the highlights or whatever.
I think you're overthinking it. Because to answer your question from where I'm coming at, like most Americans, how I feel about the Olympics is USA, USA. If we win, we go USA. Not even.
That's how I am too. That's at least how I am. Like,
well, to add on to that, I mean, like most Americans, how I feel about the Olympics is, if it's on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's on, whatever.
Like you're at a coffee shop and like they have the TV playing and it's just like the Olympics on.
You're at the bar or whatever and it's there, because a lot of Americans don't care because like it's just not the sports that they're accustomed to, because a lot of them are like international sports or like, you know, Greek sports and stuff like that, and it's not the stuff that each particular country is used to for theirs. So some countries might care more. It's like a niche thing that just becomes like more important because it's the Olympics and it's like the time
and
of
it's
the year
around
where every country comes together to play a game instead of fucking murder each other over our differences. So I acknowledge its importance for that, but something that is otherwise unimportant to the common man is not suddenly important to us just because it's on television. You know what I mean? But
I will say
with that
watching
said,
it with friends is another thing though. Like I feel as if watching it with loved ones, it's like something like it's like an activity. It's like just another activity you guys can do, you know? But like, cause like I watched the World Cup with my dad. And like for me, like I'm not nearly as big of like a soccer head.
More Americans care about the World Cup than they do about the Olympics. I'm gonna keep it a stack, yeah.
Can I also say something? The only reason why we even tune into the Olympics is when we see those gymnasts and like those fat gymnast asses.
No. They don't wear those no more. Well,
they don't.
Well, the gymnasts do. It was the volleyball girls that complained.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Now they actually get to wear jeggings, but before they fucking made them wear like fucking bathing suits that hiked so far up their cracks.
Oh my god, yeah.
And you can only imagine the type of international attention that they would get off of that. And that's not why they're fucking there. That's just rude. Like if they're in Paris and there's a certain type of horny-ass Frenchman that comes over, or Italy, the country that is literally famous or infamous for its sexually aggressive men. It's like not... That's shitty. The gymnasts know they have to wear those because it's for the fucking aerodynamics of like their flight patterns.
I think isn't it also
jump.
regulation? I'd assume like a committee of theirs probably says like you have to wear this because it's regulation, and like, you know, it kind of sucks too.
Wait,
It's like
with one hand like writing the regulations and the other one below the fucking desk.
it's like when Japanese schools like made the uniforms for like their female students.
Yeah, exactly. Rooted into misogyny, the patriarchy. But no, like a lot of girls complained. Volleyball, I was watching, they don't wear those no more. They wear jeggings now, or like leggings for that, so they can keep like the dynamic and still move around. Yeah, which is good, you know, because you know the men didn't have to wear fucking like Speedos when they played volleyball that hiked so far up their keister to the point where it damaged their fucking prostate. It's like, it's not... There is nothing about that. The gymnasts obviously still wear those because those are for dynamic reasons. It's like, if they're wearing leggings for that, like, it changes how they can move and they sweat too much in the legs and stuff like that.
There is, like, some science behind it. I know,
exactly. So I care as far as, like, Simone Biles, like, being the most decorated Olympian.
When there's headlines.
That's insanely important. No, I even watched her do today because my mom was watching it. She was watching that.
Oh, okay.
And obviously for the USA, like when they're there, it's like, oh, this is on. That's the USA one. We root for them. It's like we still have a little bit of like that country pride for that, or just this is our boy or our girl out there. We want them to win. But it doesn't necessarily mean we're into the sport. So I think a lot of Americans, when it comes to the Olympics, care a little bit. They're a little bit more nationalistic about it than caring about the sport. Except for the people who are actually athletes, who care way more about the sport, who know the struggles of being an athlete, who know the grind to doing it, who know that grinding every day for 4 years straight for something that you do for 10 seconds to be immediately judged on by a panel of people just to tell you to fuck off, you don't get a medal, the pressure that comes about, they care more about that. They understand. So I guess just like to TLDR that, I care about like some of the statistics. Like again, Simone Biles being the most decorated Olympian, American Olympian, that's huge because she's a black woman. That's humongous.
Can I also say something that I found funny?
What's up?
So we all know how much Americans love their guns.
Yeah.
There has not been a single gold medal won by an American in anything revolved around shooting stuff.
Did you see the Korean one?
Yeah.
I've seen so many gamers on my fucking Twitter feed simping over that girl right now. It's insane. Basically, like, there's this insane, I don't remember her name, this South Korean sharpshooter, because they have, like, shooting events and whatnot, and they take it real seriously. She even has, like, one of those, like, little, like, monocle things, like, on her eye, like, to zoom in, like, pinpoint precision. And this girl is, like, the modern-day, like, Korean Robin Hood. And I know another Smash commentator, and I'm not going to name names, but his tag is Nerf. You can look it up right now. I don't give a fuck. I'm naming names. Who literally retweeted the post of her on Twitter and said she could fix him.
What?
Nerf, I gotta be honest, you gotta stop being so horny on fucking Maine, bro. Like, you do it a lot. I'm just gonna keep it a stack. And, like, granted, that's sick, but, like, yeah. It's funny that you say that the Americans don't do that. It goes to show maybe this is where we come to prove that stereotypes are bullshit, you know? Like Cool Runnings.
No, honestly.
You know the story of Cool Runnings, like the Jamaican bobsled team. And then everyone's like, wow, the Jamaican bobsled team. That's fucking amazing. Look at you go down there. How do you practice at home? Do you fucking... Well, that's why they got memed on to shit for it in the 80s. And then they were trained to champions by, what's his name? I forget. It's a true story. It's a movie called Cool Runnings. It's a classic. It was an old Disney movie, a live-action Disney movie, but it's a true story about the Jamaican bobsled team. They were all runners, but they couldn't qualify for the Summer Olympics because of some accident or whatever that happened. But they still wanted to compete, and so they found a guy and formed a fucking bobsled team. I'm not even kidding.
That is awesome, though.
It's an amazing movie.
Story.
It's a classic. Yeah, it's a classic.
This is also the time when Walt Disney Studios actually made like decent live-action movies, based off of true stories, or inspired by true stories, whatever. Like, oh, I miss those days. I'm sorry, I got like we're gonna get Disney.
We're gonna get real more boomer in a minute because it's gonna get real nostalgic. So to conclude on this topic here, basically what they're doing now, I'll keep putting this on screen. IOC has gone elsewhere It hasn't been well promoted, but there is an official Paris 2024 video game called Olympics Go Paris 2024. A free-to-play smartphone-focused effort from San Francisco and Seoul-based company Enway, which previously developed several Power Rangers games. There is a PC version as well on the Epic Games Store. Through screenshots shows same touch controls and basic visuals of smartphone versions. You can compete in 12 Olympic sports such as archery, gymnastics, 100-meter athletics, swimming, and golf. Oh, and there's NFTs in it as well. Join the excitement of the Olympic Paris 2024 with Enway's officially licensed commemorative Paris 2024 NFT digital pin collection, the game's website explains. You can claim a legendary or epic pin showcasing the Paris 2024 mascot holding a flag and waving. You can add these digital gems to your collection through Magic Eden's friendly NFT marketplace as part of, oh fucking god, Coinbase's on-chain summer event. Be sure to have an ETH L2 base supported wallet to secure yours today. Oh my god, they bailed on Mario and fucking Sonic the Hedgehog for this. Next up from the International Olympics Committee is the inaugural esports Olympic Games next year, which is also very problematic because those are hosted in Saudi Arabia. Perhaps it's best Mario and Sonic steer clear. But as far as Dennis feeling a little nostalgic for old Disney movies, you know what I'm nostalgic for?
Robert Downey Jr.?
No, fuck that guy. One of the most...
What?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love RDJ. I was just trying to see a reaction out of you. The Doctor Doom shit. The Doctor Doom shit. We can talk about that too. But as far as keeping on gaming, before we move on to that, one thing I'm nostalgic for would be probably one of the most impactful consoles ever made. The Xbox 360.
Oh, yes.
Hugely important console. Easily won that fucking generation. With with Call of Duty in its prime, Halo, Gears of War, like all like these classic fucking multiplayer shooters that were on the rise.
Legends.
The kind that really birthed like the modern gaming sphere before battle royales were a thing, before everything was a huge like, you know, esport and whatnot, before influencers sort of took over everything. This was just a different era. The Xbox 360 was sort of the transition into that, as well as the PS3 and PC gaming with what it was becoming, while Nintendo was off doing their own thing with the Wii and also revolutionizing gaming in their own way. And much like Nintendo, what Xbox has decided to do recently was shut down their old store. Nintendo shutting down the Wii U and 3DS eShops. The Xbox 360 online store is no more. You can't buy those games on there anymore. As of like today. Not even fucking kidding. The day we're recording this, like as of today. And ain't that some fucking sad shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. Fuck that. Granted, my 360 barely even works anymore. There's no shot in hell I was gonna purchase...
Most people's 360s barely work anymore.
Yes, but mine is actually not the old 360, it's the Slim. That fixed the red ring.
Okay.
But mine didn't... I mean, mine still works, but, like, the disk drive is, like, jammed. I think I, like, lifted it with a disc in there once.
What did
the
you
controller...
do, like, kick it?
No, I lifted it while Black Ops was running. When we were like kids and we were just moving the 360 somewhere else, I don't even fucking remember. And then like a candle melted on my controller. That was also very interesting.
What the fuck were you doing?
There was gaming by a fireplace, and then like the fucking candle melted that was like on the rafter above it or on the shelf above it, and then it just right on the controller. Basically became an overglorified DVD player. So yeah, it's just funny that, like, you know, like, I'm not even gonna buy anything on that fucking store anyway, but you know the whole stick about game preservation and whatnot. Now, you gotta buy these or buy our new games on our new store. With the Xbox 360 marketplace closing down today, July 29th is truly the end of an era for the popular 7th generation console. First released in 2005, a full year ahead of competitors PS3 and Wii, whereas the original Xbox was a modest success, the 360 was a massive hit, largely thanks to high-quality exclusives and its affordability compared to the PS3. Still has affordability compared to the... Actually, yeah, no, never mind. They got rid of both of those. The fucking Xbox Series X is still $500, and they don't even got the exclusives no more.
Ugh.
The 360 really, like I was saying earlier, it was partly those exclusives. Halo 3. You had to be there. You can't even describe it. You just had to be. Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2. You just had
to be there.
Gears of War.
And Gears of War 2. And 3.
And Gears 2. And 3. Yeah. And Black
All
Ops
of them
2.
were just like, I feel as if like
It was Dennis, it was the golden era. It was the golden
era.
era.
What I mean. Like, people
it was the golden
don't
era.
understand.
The
like,
Zoomers
just
don't
how
understand.
definitive those fucking years were for, I think, gaming in general. Just as not even like as kind of like the juggernaut that we know it now as, like, because it's a giant now, and it is an industry that I almost feel as if it's getting up there where it's almost too big to fail. I feel like it's like with the way Microsoft and Sony is now, and even to another extent Nintendo, just only because like Nintendo kind of does its own way of business compared to, let's say, Microsoft or Sony, and also Valve too. Like, kind of like looking back at it now, if you told me and my 12-year-old self just how insane and how huge that industry would become, I probably would have called you a liar. And because you know, I feel as if when we were that young, and for anyone who was around for like the Halo, Gears of War and Call of Duty days from Xbox 360, if any of you were around that time and like you lived through it, you went to those lines, you stayed online for Halo 3, like, you know, you like actually sat outside for hours outside of your Best Buy or whatever, and like waiting to buy one. You would almost think, and I feel as if a lot of people did, and even I did at one point, it can't get any better than this, or it can't get any bigger than this, right?
Mario and Sonic are in a game together. It can't get better than this.
Like, Sonic is in a Smash Brothers. Like, you know, it was just one thing after another that like we just kind of saw throughout that decade, that like it really is, like, I guess kind of almost sounds a little bit dramatic saying it, but I truly do even feel that it was really much like a golden era for gaming. I think the early 2000s to like 2010s, like that entire like just decade was just almost a fever dream just to even be a part of. And seeing now that like that relic, the Xbox 360 store, which all of us, you know, were on at one point, like is now
revolutionary
gone.
As one of the first digital storefronts on a console as well. It's another huge reason the console did as well as it did. It was a huge leap forward, not even just in terms of graphical fidelity, because it was from composite and component gaming on CRTs to HDMI, which was a huge jump in technology. It was also because it had this whole digital storefront and everything that you could purchase these games on. That was unheard of back then. Now you can't release a console without that. The 360 was like one of the first that ever did. It was such a huge... It really was... Microsoft is such a hollow shell of its former self when it comes to Xbox. And they didn't know what to do after the peak of their success like that. It'd be like, hey, there's a reason this console is super successful. How do we replicate that? They couldn't. Once everybody else started doing it.
The Microsoft we knew and loved from like about 15 years ago is obviously, it's not like the same Microsoft that we know of it as now. Yeah. Because now it's like valued at like as to be like $1 trillion company, and you know, it's been buying up all these other companies now, and like they're telling them like, hey, y'all, we're gonna give you funding, make your game. But we haven't seen shit from from a lot of these companies that they've essentially bought up. You know, one of them being obviously Bethesda, minus I guess Starfield. Like we're still waiting for Elder Scrolls 6, but we haven't heard shit about it. Like things since that little teaser that they dropped like years ago, and they just now have acquired Blizzard, which we'll see whatever that may turn out to be, for better or for worse. Like, I mean, I heard Overwatch actually. I heard from a friend actually. They actually revealed that they're gonna actually be bringing back 6v6 to their game, which I know for a lot of, like, I know for especially David and a lot of others here, they don't give a fuck about Overwatch, but
no, I can vent.
But the thing is that me hearing that, it kind of brought me back to a point in time when a lot of my friends, we were playing it, and we went to also PC cafes and actually played it together, like with all of us, like, you know, all in one row together on the computer. And I almost, like, I'm not, this may sound like, I guess, a little dramatic to say, but I almost feel them doing that and bringing back 6v6 for Overwatch may not sound like a big deal for a lot of people, but I almost feel as if this is going to be them slowly starting to roll back a lot of the shit they took away and the decisions that they made for Overwatch 2. And for anyone who even follows the game remotely and even just kind of follows like kind of the patch notes and kind of just sees the changes that they've done over the years, bringing an additional tank into that fucking 6v6 with the way tanks are now in that game is gonna be fucking chaotic as shit. And the way that they even made tanks as self-sufficient in that game, where they literally heal by themselves on top of already whatever like healing you're getting from your healer, it's gonna be kind of crazy to see. And I'm also kind of happy that they also did that. But I guess me going back to Microsoft now, like, sorry, I kind of just went on just a little bit of a tangent.
I was going to ask, are we done talking about the Xbox? You can start talking about Overwatch
no,
for a while.
I think right now, especially with the way Microsoft is kind of, they are growing. There's no doubt about that. I think financially wise, like, they are incredibly, like, I think successful. But I almost just feel creatively, they just... Which is kind of like, I think the main thing you show for when you're like, not even like just a video game company, right? Because like Microsoft's not just about video games. They're literally about software and to another extent AI as well. Like, you know, it's just the kind of the way Microsoft has kind of been for the last like couple of years. They're bigger than kind of what we think they're bigger than what we see them as most of the time, I think. But as like a company that does produce and develop video games and even the video game hardware, I think in terms of hardware wise, they've been on the losing end of that ever since the Xbox One, I almost feel. And the Xbox One, when it first came out, it was such a joke. I don't want to say, that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to like kind of just throw it up, like kind of just throw it out there and say like, oh yeah, it's like a piece of trash. Like, I don't think it really was a piece of trash, but I also think
it would have been if they released it in the state that they revealed it in, and they didn't take the feedback that they got back from beforehand, because it was y'all don't even remember, but if you don't, it was such a bad presentation with so many shit features. It didn't have backwards compatibility originally. It just wasn't gonna happen.
That was that
was one of the biggest ones, and there was so much blowback to them that they literally delayed the console so they could put backwards compatibility on it from like what they
also
were originally going to do.
But they also didn't even make all games backwards compatible anyways.
But in light of this news with the Xbox 360 of Microsoft for once doing something Nintendo don't, as far as game preservation goes, for all the Xbox 360 games that are on the Xbox One store and the Series X and S ones, as well as if it's a game you already purchased and it's you still have your 360, you can still download the game. So like the backwards compatibility ones, you could still do that on the new consoles, which in some cases with Nintendo's consoles you can, but that's like 90% of the time not the case. It's just whatever Nintendo decides to put on these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
but yeah, that was also because Nintendo's had different ecosystems like when it came to their consoles. Like, it's kind of a shame, but like the 3DS,
that's a good point.
I know, yeah, like, you know, they just... They've had like, I think, compared to Xbox's ecosystem, which is kind of fairly homogenous, if so to say. Like, for every generation that we've seen Xbox kind of like make a new console, it's always been just kind of one environment in which like you go to buy games, you go to download games, and like you go to play games. It's usually just one environment.
Xbox Store, PlayStation Store, Steam, blah, blah, blah.
But for Nintendo, obviously it wasn't the case until the 3DS was basically canned, because there was the 3DS store and obviously, you know, of course, the Switch. Like, they had multiple environments in which like you can go to download games and such.
You have a
But-
Nintendo account that you now make that was carried over from the Wii U and 3DS over to the Switch, but that's it. This like the storefront
Yeah.
is still different, like you said. It's
And they still have, obviously, like, same as Xbox has done just now, like, they've basically shut down entire stores, for I guess whatever reason you may think of, like,
old
it's
game.
just
Buy a
old
new-
game. And not to mention, like,
Buy
at least
out
for
a
the
new one.
Xbox's for Xbox's case, I think though there was, I think, definitely a lot of there's definitely a lot of respect, I think, from everyone towards the Xbox 360. Like, I don't think anyone could deny, like, just how successful that fucking machine was, and even just like the generation that that console defined in a sort of way, like. Just kind of all of the legends that we've kind of played from the past, like, and the fact that even like kind of, it's also great because, like, I'm still very happy like that Gears of War is finally getting, like, an actually decent game, like, after 3. And I mean, I know people like will say like, well, Gears of War 4 and blah blah were okay, but like the thing was that, like, when Gears 1, 2, and 3 came out, I didn't hear a single person complain ever about that game or about those games in general. Like, that entire trilogy is just almost like, I think for a lot of people, it's up there with the Halo trilogy. And like, in Halo, at least, like, we had 2 games in the previous Xbox, and it wasn't until Halo 3 was coming around that we got it in Xbox 360. But at the very least, it's like, it's just up there. Like, it's just like a legend, like, as far as like kind of what the significance and impact of the significance and the impact was of those titles. And
It was John DiMaggio's first major role in a game, I think. Definitely something that strayed very far from him. Like, when you think of like Jake the dog and then like Bender and stuff, like, yeah, Bender. Like, I can't do the fucking voice. No one can because it's part of his voice. And then you hear Marcus Phoenix. It was just like,
oh,
let's take the prison blocks. I'm ready to kick some ass. Like, it's like, but hearing that come out of John DiMaggio, it's like, wow, this fucker has more range than he looks. It's crazy.
And
I think that was his first major role in the game. Yeah.
And I'm just also like, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm like that I'm rambling over here, but I'm also just really happy that, like, at least the Xbox 360 store may have been shut down, but at the very least it, like, still kind of lives on in a way. Like, it's not like Nintendo where it's like they said, oh, you like Wii games? Sorry, no more Wii games. Or, oh, you like a 3DS games? Oh, no more 3DS games.
Yeah, so
or
what
like
are they going to
3DS
do?
store, like, we're just getting rid of it. And
What are they going to do? They're going to make a home console with 2 screens? Look, you can play 3DS games again. They've tried that before, actually, like in prototypes. It doesn't work. It doesn't hit the same as
There's
like a
been footage of it?
not footage of it, but I think they've like leaked some stuff like to journalists, like at Nintendo Power when they did stuff like that. And they did release DS games on the Wii U because you could have the gamepad be the touch screen and then your TV is like the top screen.
Yeah, but
So
you
they
still have to
done that.
buy the entire game again, though.
No, not even buying the game again. That's not the problem. Like, it didn't work with the DS because both screens are in your peripheral. They're both in your
Also,
view.
then you'd have to be
with
like,
the gamepad just it didn't. It was like Star Fox Zero. It was just it just divided your attention between the 2 screens. It just didn't work. Reason number 500 why the fucking Wii U failed. But
True.
yeah, at least we're grateful to Microsoft for doing that. I mean, I'm not grateful to them for shutting down all the studios that they do, and will probably shut down more in the future. They're still a shit company, like, for video games as far as I'm considered. Still a hollow shell of their former self. But at least you can still purchase those old 360 games on their newer stuff. And not even just their new stuff, still on the Xbox One. But I'm not going to give Microsoft the benefit of the doubt for that either. The only reason that's the case is because the Series X was losing this generation, and they still support their old ones way longer for that reason. Nintendo is Nintendo, and the Switch sold fucking gangbuster. They could have and should have shut down the fucking Wii U 3DS eShops years ago at this fucking... But they could have done it. No one would have batted an eye. Besides, like, the hardcore gamers, we would have talked about it on the podcast and be like, that fucking sucks. I'll still give them my money for brothership. When that comes out. I definitely gotta make a top 5 video, by the way. I'm gonna make a top 5 Mario and Luigi games. before that game comes out. I definitely want to like try to thrive off the hype for that and make a list for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably I've negated doing that for so long because it's probably literally just gonna be like the games in reverse chronological order, pretty much for the most part. But who knows? I could be wrong about that. Superstar Saga is actually not my favorite. It's not.
Boo! Boo this
all
man!
those games. You haven't even played any of the other ones.
I have.
Which ones? You played the other Mario and Luigi games? Which ones?
Yeah, like the Bowser one.
You did play Bowser's Inside Story?
Yeah, but I never finished it.
Oh, okay. I thought you never played that game.
No. I played a lot of them. I just did not finish even the first Superstar Saga. I never beat fucking Cackletta at the end.
Right.
And I hated that because like there was a moment, a period in my childhood where like I had the game, I got towards the end, and I was hyper fixated on fucking beating it. I just could never do it because there's that part where like, okay, yeah, you beat Bowletta,
yeah,
and she swallows you, and then you're down in their gut, and you're like literally at 1 HP. And if you fuck up once, like dodging any for shit, it's just game over.
That was pretty hardcore for Nintendo.
No, yeah.
Honestly.
That's why, like, I think as far as like difficulty goes, like I think it's definitely like not like maybe not like the hardest games, like hardest game up there with me. Considering
you
like
still
I've
have
played
the max nuts.
The max nuts plus in terms of other games that I've played, I've been playing Elden Ring. I've been playing Dark Souls. And like, you know, and I'm just saying like
a little bit.
No.
Just a little bit harder than the fucking Mario and Luigi game.
But what I'm saying is that it kind of puts into perspective when like when you were young, you thought like, oh yeah, this because like I thought like Thousand Year Door was difficult, and then I played it as an adult.
On one of the earliest bosses in Partners in Time. My cousin had to beat it for me when I was a little kid playing that shit. And the reason for that is because I just wanted to experience the story as a small kid, so I avoided every normal fight. I just ran away. So by the time I got to the bosses, I was so copiously underleveled to the point where I couldn't fucking do anything. It was so bad.
Fucking hell, man.
Oh, man. Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it just kind of puts it into perspective here. Because like, I know kids who are playing Elden Ring and who are playing Dark Souls.
They're
and I'm
better.
Just like...
The new kids are different. The Zoomers are different.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's one of those things where like I look at it generationally and I'm just like, was I just that inept? Because like I think even me playing like Halo's other difficulties and even playing like Call of Duty World at War at like I think veteran, it like made me want to pull my fucking hair out. And like as a child, and it even still does now to this day for me.
Yeah.
But then I like play, I mean, well, you know, to be fair, like when it came to a lot of Nintendo games, like they never really engineered them to be these fucking slog fests for you to like want to like punch your nuts like in frustration for. But
two
like,
things to that, if I may.
Yeah,
what do you got going on? I fucking peak content, I guess. I mean, I don't really care too much for like too many live streamers. Really, I'm more of a YouTube guy. Kai Cenat, who's like one of the biggest streamers ever at this point.
Oh yeah.
Again, he was the guy who that New York shit happened when they said like come get your free PS5s or whatever, and like everybody freaked out on them. He's like the Twitch streamer, like tip top, like doing streams with fucking Kevin Hart and shit like that. Is like
I don't really care
like,
for Kevin Hart, but I think Kai is actually like he's not a bad entertainer at all.
No,
I think he's
not at all. Dude,
he's very good.
He spent so long trying to beat this Elden Ring boss that one thing he thought would be peak content is he literally did a live stream session with his therapist. He hired a therapist to have an actual therapy session with him about the Elden Ring boss and what it did to him psychologically. That's fucking genius idea, by the way. That is peak content. But second, you know, it's weird, right? Because like the Zoomers, they're like the most technologically inept generation because they don't know what it's like to go without it. So they know how to do like the basic stuff on their phone, but when it comes to fixing like certain old technologies and stuff or being able to manage any of it to an extent, they can't do it. That's the same with any generation. My dad has this really old record player. I don't know how to use it. I actually, like, because it's way before my time. So it could just be a case of like certain ages because Zoomers are already in that age where they have the busted ass reaction time. They could beat the Mario and Luigi bosses easily or do any sorts of stuff. But if I give like that game to like my 6-year-old nephew, like Gen Alpha, like the new generation of kids, they would have the same struggles that you and I had. You know, like when they're just at that age, because they're just cognitive abilities just aren't there yet.
Give them Dark Souls, then you'll really see.
Exactly. It's why Mario games will always be super duper easy. And why, if a little kid is just that godlike at Dark Souls, that's when I agree they're an actual prodigy. Not like your Akalas or like all like your different fucking like young Smash players that like, you know, have no job and nothing or responsibilities and just godlike reaction time. So they have nothing but time and insane reflexes to get nasty at these games. When they're small children, it's a whole different story, but like, I don't know. It's a 7-year-old Nasby player right now, actually, who's the younger sibling of the 11th best player in the world, Bread, who he had actually been training. And she got like 9th at the big Nasby Junior Arcadian tournament, which is where all the top 50 players are banned. And he makes fun of her for it a lot because, to Bryce to you real quick, new patch, Aang got nerfed, super duper nerfed, and guess who the new best character in the game is?
Azula!
It's fucking Korra. They buffed Korra for like... Korra was... I know, isn't that hilarious? Like an avatar just has to be the best in the game? Can you fucking believe that shit?
Wait, is she like... she's not tier zero. Like, I say tier zero because like I
you do see like, it doesn't apply to platform fighters.
I know. I'm saying, but like as far as like,
fuck you.
Is she in her own tier or like is she?
No,
like,
no,
just...
no. She's not because the last patch was just trash, and instead of nerfing more characters, which is what Nasby 2 needs, in my opinion, as well as the opinion of Alpha Stone and other top players, They did nerf a lot of characters that needed to be nerfed, like Aang and Danny and stuff like that. Danny, they didn't nerf enough, but, you know, all different kinds of shit. But they have a tendency to overbuff low tiers. And Zim went from being, like, the one literally borderline worst in the game to, like, potentially the best. So he's also in the same tier as Korra and stuff. So he makes fun of her for being, like, a 2-button character. It's like, see, so easy a 7-year-old can do it. So to continue on with my point, it's like... The little kids just have insane reaction time. Because their reaction time is just literally better than us as 2 30-year-old men. Like, it's a whole different ballpark, really. So and they also don't have jobs. So they just sit and play fucking Smash Brothers all day. And with so just getting fucking sick, nasty Cochino, Loco, and the goddamn Moco at it. It's different. We didn't have online. We didn't have fucking Wi-Fi until Wi-Fi games, really, until the 360. Yeah, the GameCube and stuff had, like, a weird version of Zero Dawn or Phantasy Star Online or something like that you could play on the Xbox or the PS2, but none of us had that shit. That was for like the bougie kids who like had like fucking wired like wireless internet before that was a big thing. I still had dial-up, motherfucker. I checked the fucking Smash Brothers dojo for Sakurai's daily updates about Smash Brothers Brawl every fucking day after school, and you best believe I waited an hour for that fucking page to load. On dial-up ass internet. You better fucking believe I waited for the post about Sonic being in the game for an hour. And you best believe because I had to wait for it to load forever that I stared at it for an hour too. On my fucking Windows XP desktop computer that we shared, by the way, with our parents and our siblings. Y'all did not know the struggles. I'm done. Please.
Can I one last thing too, because like, you know,
it's good.
Because we have, like, when we see a lot of these, I guess, competitive, or like games that we see like people play competitively, you know, when it comes to even Smash Brothers and even Nasby and even to another extent, like, you know, first-person shooters, right? And during like the high point of like when Halo was like the king of like was at the top of Xbox Live and like, you know. Along with COD and even like I think it really was just Halo and COD around that time, but at least like around that time, right? People didn't have guides to like kind of teach them how to play competitively like on multiplayer. Like for a lot of times I almost feel there was forums, if anyone remembers forums, like internet forums, like way back when, like before Twitter, before Reddit, like all of, like that was like another resource that we all had.
Game Facts. Game Facts, baby. Oh man,
like, we didn't have YouTube back then.
Right now.
That's the thing. Yeah. Like we didn't have YouTube back then to kind of have a guy who was a pro teach us like how to play the game like optimally, right? And it was kind of insane because like there was a lot of guys on Halo and even on COD that were just fucking sick nasty because like they just played the game to an absurd amount that like they just like it just got ingrained into them, like into their very DNA even, that like how to play competitively. And at least compared to how it is like kind of now we have whole communities. We have Discord. We have like, you know, people all like on YouTube videos, like even just kind of like sharing tips, sharing like their experiences, and like kind of just even like kind of just making it all a resource for everyone to kind of share and even like kind of utilize. Because like, again, and this is a bit boomer of us to say, but like back in the day, we didn't have guides to teach us how to be good at Halo. It just really was get good and just play the game like a fucking madman, and it eventually will just come to you.
You fucking like, racial slur.
Yeah, exactly. And
it was a scientific fact that the more racist you were, the better you were at COD and Gears and Halo. It's just a fact. Man, I hate to be that guy. Oh, new generation wouldn't have survived those lobbies, but like, you know, obviously it's the same thing, but you know. The quickscopers of today, even though they might not hit shots that are as impressive as the new ones, impressed me more because they didn't have the resources that the new kids have.
Oh my god, yeah.
No Discords, like that was back when we still had to use the shitty fucking Xbox 360 headsets that you like bought in the store that made you sound like dog ass.
Even the third party mics were terrible too. Even the ones you drop money for were so bad.
That shit sounded worse than like a 90s cell phone. Like actually. And to think there really were SoundCloud kids rapping into those. All right, not even gonna go on those discussions. Yo, I get plenty. I get plenty. Ugh. To think, man. That was back when we still had to use fucking Skype to talk to each other
or
for
Ventrilo.
PC games. I don't even remember that one. I remember Mumble.
Oh yeah, like there was a TeamSpeak. We had like so many like different kinds.
Before Discord came in and just dropped their cock down and be like, we're better. We're better.
We are better.
GameFAQs. It's still here, by the way. Bought by GameSpot, apparently, because now it says GameFAQs.gamespot.com. So maybe that explains why they're still around. Crazy.
I mean, if IG...
Wow.
I still don't understand, too, like how IGN is like still around as well. I remember
literally
that was
people
like
only talk about them when they drop a shit review of something for like too much water or whatever it is. It's crazy. It's because they still report on news, you know, like discussing film, which is where I heard about the Mario and Sonic thing, actually. Mm-hmm. It's because they're just that same Twitter account that it, like, reports on these, like, new big things when it happens. So, Kai Cenat attacked in New York for promising free PS5s. It's like they're still the kind of people who report on that. That's how they maintain relevancy. They adapted with the times to, like, match news of, like, influencers and stuff and went to where the people were, like, on Twitter and shit like that. Even though there's less people on it now more than ever because of Elon and bots and shit and whatever.
Yeah, just kind of the way like Twitter is run nowadays. Like,
if we were to talk about politics, I'd talk about the Kamala Harris pages getting banned because that started to happen.
Oh yeah. What was it, Daddy? What was it? That's a Daddy. Is it
white dudes for Harris?
Were you a part of that page, David?
No, I don't know. I haven't been following them yet. I haven't followed the Kamala page yet. I just didn't think to do it because I was too busy touching grass. You fucking cucks. Nah, I don't know.
I think
I will follow mommy. I'll follow mommy soon enough. Don't worry.
Mama Harris.
Mommy
You think
president.
Mama Harris played Xbox 360 when she was older or younger?
Yes, and dropped every slur.
With the Tims and talkers.
The terms. I still think about that video and laugh. I'm going to need those, fuckboy. I'm going to need those. Not my terms. No.
Not my terms.
And now, the ass whooping I learned from my ancestral right. You mean the son of a shepherd? It's just perfect, man. We love y'all. See you next week. Here's the plugs. Let us know what you think about Mario and Sonic at the Olympics going away. And the Xbox 360 store going away. And old consoles and racism and gaming going away.
I want to bring back the racism.
It's still there. You can find it. Oh, dude, some TF2 servers. Oh my god. I was playing in a high tower server recently, which is kind of like ones where like people just fuck around to kill each other. Nobody plays the objective, and people just talk shit like and have little duels with each other. Oh, the slurs in there. Oh my god. Oh, it was bad. It was bad.
Is it like the good old days?
Well, no, it's not, because they're censored in chat now. We have algorithm bots that censor them when you type them out.
Boo. Bring back the racism.
God. Man, those lobbies, dude. Holy shit.
Yo, it's like, people don't understand too, like kind of just, you need to have been there in an Xbox 360 Halo lobby or a Modern Warfare lobby. You just really had to be there to experience the sheer hatred and racism. Like
the vitriol. The debaucherous nature.
Oh my god.
Fuck. At least now when they're debaucherous, at least now when lobbies are debaucherous, it's like more about memes than anything else, and just, I don't know, Gen Z brain rot, which can be just as bad in a different kind of way. It's less so about racism now, and more so just like being a shithead and being weird, or being like, or like skibbity toilet or whatever the fuck you can say. Just brain rot shit, which apparently is what's getting made into movies now. That's where Michael Bay's career apparently is. Yep. Follow us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out some of the other gaming videos I've made, like this Team Fortress 2 one. I still have to make that other one. I gotta get around to recording that, but I'm finally not sick anymore, so maybe I can. Follow us on Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review. Helps out a lot on Apple Podcasts if that's what you prefer to listen to. And that's it. We will see you next week. Hope you enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun. You know, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna wear sunglasses every week, but I'm not gonna lie, this feels weird. It helps. I don't know, like it's something with not seeing my eyes. It just brings out more energy in me. I can't explain it. I really don't. I did not feel that energetic when we booted up the fucking pod. I did not feel that energetic, but as soon as we went, I was like, hello, nurse! Yakko Warner was a horny-ass motherfucker. He really was. And he didn't even hide.
Guys. We'll see you later.